Previously on ENCORE.
In front of the dug-up patches of land lay two raggedy teddy bears and two bundles of flowers and weeds. Our suspect was back.
Cameras, tributes, and mounting evidence. Events that happened 5 years ago can trigger forgotten memories and offer clarity. My name is John O'Davis, and I'm the manager at the Jennie T Theater in Cobb County, Georgia. I have a story that's been the theater's biggest secret in years. Only a few are aware. Now we're blowing this door wide open. This is ENCORE, a new miniseries by Jennie T Radio and Cobb County Parks and Cultural Affairs. This miniseries excludes profanity, but it does contain gore and graphic situations that are relevant to the stories being told. If things like murder, conspiracies, and ghosts scare you, then now is the time to change the channel. The views and opinions expressed on ENCORE are those of the narrator and do not reflect those of Cobb County Parks. This is a storytelling, history, and crime-solving podcast, and should be viewed for entertainment purposes only. Boy, do I regret not mounting that camera that Tuesday. Leslie and I scoped out the scene and took dozens of pictures of the memorials. There were two teddy bears. The best way I could describe them would be dollar store quality. The kinds of bears that you would get out of one of those claw machines at an arcade. They were raggedy and dirty. One was blue, the other one was a faded red. I'm not sure if this was to indicate genders, but if so, this was new news to us as we weren't aware of the genders of the children. There were also two clumps of flowers and weeds. They weren't arranged in a bouquet, but they were two sets of flowers placed on two different spots. The flowers were dandelions that looked to be freshly picked. Maybe the person who plucked them also plucked some weeds to make it appear more full and more like a bouquet. One thing I haven't touched on is the emotional resonance of this event. The finding of the first body, yes, was very traumatic, but I didn't feel much of anything by it. My curiosity was piqued, but that was that. However, the discovery of these tributes made me feel a little sad. Unless it was placed by someone who was witness to the discovery of the bodies, like a county official or a police officer, I like to imagine it was by the person who buried the bodies there. Maybe they came back, saw the bodies, they saw that they had been dug up, and this was their way of mourning. I think if it had been someone within the government, the quality of the flowers would be a little better. I can't really explain the teddy bears. That seems like a personal touch. Either way, it was sad all around. The finding of the body is horrible. Since it dealt with children, I can't imagine the sorrow of having to bury them. Even worse, I don't want to imagine the fear and sadness of finding out that they were no longer where you left them. Although, maybe this person didn't care. Maybe it was something malicious and this memorial was their way of closing this chapter in their lives. We called Mitchell to give him the update. Then we called the county police. They came by, took our statement, and collected the bears. They left the flowers, though. Leslie and I mounted the camera on the tree. We told the police of our plan, and they actually seemed interested. They helped us find the right angle, where it would be hidden but capture about a 20 by 20 foot space. We checked it out on the computer and it was up and running. Over the next few months, we get a few notifications from the camera. Because rentals resumed, there would still be a lot of people in and out of the loading dock. Any little movement would set it off. It actually became pretty annoying because there was zero suspicious activity from the area in surveillance. To be honest, we'd occasionally receive the notification and immediately discard it without looking at it, because 100% of the time, it was nothing worth noting. That's probably something I shouldn't admit. But really, for the first 6 or 7 months, we checked it regularly with disappointing results. We did need to change the batteries to it about twice over time. On a cool spring day, almost 1 year after the discovery, Leslie was locking up after a short rental. The building had been empty for about an hour, and she was about to clock out. That's when she heard 2 sounds. The first being a desktop pop-up notification from the camera in the tree. It caught something. The second being a hauntingly familiar sound. Thank you for listening to this episode of ENCORE. This miniseries will conclude next week.